Hi everyone, Jan Martins here, and thank you for joining my webinar tonight. And to those who are watching the replay, thank you for watching. So tonight's webinar is about how to feel and look great on video, and it's pretty much will consist from two parts. For the first part, we're going to talk about how we feel in front of the camera and why we might feel this certain way. And for the second part, we'll be talking about these practical tips, what you can do to make sure you look great on video, on Zoom call, or any other virtual meeting. So before I start, I want to ask you a question. What's the reason for you to be here? And you have, three choices here in the poll. You want to run online webinars sessions, you want to create your online course, or you want to create more videos for your social media. For those who's live, please vote on the poll, and if you're watching replay, please put the comment underneath this video. So would you like to learn more how to look great on video because you want to run more online webinars and sessions, you want to create your online course, or you just want to create more videos for your social media? So this webinar is extremely interactive. I'm not gonna go through any slides, so I'm just gonna talk directly to you and answer all your questions. So if you're watching live, you can pop as many questions as you want, and if you're on replay, please don't hesitate to put your questions in the comments. I'll definitely get back to you in some stage. So remember, there is no such a thing like a stupid question. If you feel like you haven't received the answer while you was watching replay, because on the replay you might you have an edited version of the webinar, so you feel like you haven't received the answer that you want, please make sure you write it in the comments and I'll get back to you with the answer for sure. Just a little bit about me before we get into the content. So my experience is based on my understanding of self-image and human behavior from my degree in psychology. And I spent years in front of the camera as a model and also behind the camera as a photographer and doing videos for my clients. So I have a really good understanding how people feel in front of the camera and why they might feel this way. And then I work with my clients. It's not only about the video itself, it's also about your self-awareness and understanding what kind of fears may be driving your behavior in front of the camera. Because there is no such a thing like camera phobia. All the fears that we experience in front of the camera, they all related to social fears. Fears of being seen, being judged, and what others will think about us. So I know exactly how it might feel when you're in front of the camera, especially if you're doing for the first time. So please share your experience and we'll go through it together. So why video? Why we all talk about how important video? So many business relationship with these days starts online. And even if you met with the person face to face originally, you often continue the relationship digitally, or vice versa. You might digitally met someone and then you met them in the event. So it's important to remember that our communication skills need to be similar online and offline. So the same principles of communication that we use in everyday life, we need to transfer it in our digital world, because it's all based on the same principles. It's credibility, trust, likability, trust build over time. So we need to understand how we can build trust online by communicating with our customers the way they want us to communicate with them. And that's why video is a really powerful communication tool. So forget about thinking about the video like something from the movies or TV commercials. Video is a powerful communication tool these days for everyone, and it's really powerful for building this trust and engagement with your customers and with your audience. So because engaging video content helps you to build this to make your audience feel like they know you. There is so many times in my life that I would come to the event and people would say like, Jana, I remember you from the videos on LinkedIn, how it's going, like how's you surfing or something like this. The audience feel like they already know me before they met me, and that already built this trust when I meet them face to face. And obviously now that we're going through this coronavirus transformation, we're going to communicate through video more and more. People want real life testimonials. People want some updates about the products, updates about the services. It's all need to be quick and relevant. And there are so many people who even feel a bit of a resistance towards video. Now they're digging right into it. So that's why I want to ask you, have you noticed in the last few months someone on the Zoom call, or maybe you saw a video on LinkedIn and you feel like, oh gosh, like really? Why do you have like a washing behind you? Or, why did you rock up on the Zoom meeting in the pajamas? So have a think about these examples. And the idea is, you might think of millions of examples, but the thing is, even we all often been told, don't judge book by its cover, we do. Because online we have such a limited information, and we have just these snippets of someone's personality, and we make assumptions about people's personality based on what we see on video, based on what we see on the screen, on the Zoom call, on the LinkedIn, or anywhere. Because your personality pretty much will be judged by what it's in your frame. And if the person haven't met you before in real life, it could be really interesting assumptions. Because it's one thing that you communicating with someone through the video, then they already know you, they already communicate with you in the real life before. They already kind of have a sense of your personality. But if you meet someone digitally for the first time, you need to take in consideration all the visuals around you, because they influence their judgment about your personality and about who you are. Are they going to trust you, and so on. So think about these people that you saw on the video on the Zoom call. How did you perceive them? Like, why? What influenced your judgment? Was it the background? Maybe it was like horrible lighting. You just couldn't see the person's face, or like, think about how you perceive others. That might help you to understand how others might perceive you, because we have so much, a lot of information about ourselves, and we understand, hopefully understand more about ourselves and how we see ourselves, but it doesn't mean that others see us the same way. So again, like, try noticing how you making assumptions, how you perceive others, so you can understand how you can apply in your videos. And often, people ask me, like, oh, like, everyone doing video, do I really need to do videos? It's like everyone who haven't done it, everyone start doing it. Yes, because it's just a different way of communication. It doesn't mean that you have to do videos every day. It doesn't mean that you have to communicate only through videos. But it's another channel that you need to cover, because there is a lot of people that want a communication through video, because it's as close as face-to-face. It's as close to real life, and we has experienced it quite strongly during the isolation as well. And here's another question always, like, oh, but how often do I need to post? Like, do I need to post every day, every week? So the answer to it doesn't matter how often you post. It's not about the is it every day or every week. It's about consistency and relevance. If you can consistently create relevant content 5 times a day, why not create the relevant content 5 times a day? If you see that your quality drop and it's not as relevant to your audience, don't do it. Do it like once a week, but make sure it's relevant and consistent. Because again, consistency build trust. Relevance make you expert in the industry. So consistency and relevance, that's a main ingredients. Don't overthink about how often. If you feel like you start producing content just to keep the gaps in the calendar, not a great idea. Maybe post less, but keep the quality coming so the audience actually want this content. Here's another question I want to ask you. How do you like being in front of cameras? Here's another poll. So please choose one of the three. Yes, I love it. Love being in front of the camera. It's okay, or I hate it. Just can't stand it. Yeah, so please vote, or if you're watching a replay, please put in the comments, yeah, you love doing it, you're okay with it, or you just hate it, just can't stand it. So now that everyone voted, please, especially those who put I hate it, please put your comments why. Yeah, why do you think you hate being in front of the camera? Do you feel certain way? You know, what's kind of thoughts coming into your mind? What sort of negative thoughts coming into your mind then in front of the camera? Put it in the comments and let's go through them. Okay, so here's some comments. I don't like how I look on the video. Look, that's a really common a really common comment, especially some people always tell me like, oh, I just have a face for the radio. Come on guys, no one have a face for the radio, you know. Then you go to network event, do you cover your face with the plastic bag so people can't see your face? No, you go to network event with your real face and communicate with people. So it's a similar thing in the online world. You just being yourself there. But of course, there is little tips and tricks that help you to look more professional, look better on camera. Often it's because we don't understand the lighting, because lighting can make you feel quite different, depends where light coming from. And I'll come back to the lighting when we're going to talk about practical tips. But one of the reasons we don't like to seeing ourselves on video, because we're not used to it. It feels uncomfortable. Think about when you hear your recorded voice for the first time. It felt weird. It didn't feel like yourself, because we're not used to hearing our voice from outside. Like, is anyone there love hearing their recorded voice? Definitely not for the first time. No, everyone loving. So yeah, so you and the same with the video. You're not used to see yourself from another side. You know, animals can't recognize themselves on the video. It's only us as humans, we have ability to do so. And in the beginning, it does feel weird. Especially if you think about, you know, young generation now who just born with the phones and all they do is just looking at themselves on the screen. And, you know, if you're over 40, it could be quite daunting because it's not something you grow up with. So really simple, we are more confident with the things we're familiar with. It's actually called mere exposure. As more we're exposed to something, as more we like it. That's why we have things like discrimination in life, because we tend to like things that we're familiar with. So the funny thing is, as more you will be looking at yourself on the video, as more you get used to it and as more you like it, as simple as it sounds. But the truth is, you have to force yourself to watch back. Yes, in the beginning it might not feel as comfortable, but you will get used to it and hopefully start criticizing yourself less as well. Because then we are worst critics, you know, we're picking up all these little things. If in real life you don't constantly watch, like looking at your face, then on the video you start noticing all these little bits and pieces. So the good exercise for this is actually, then the next time you go and look at yourself in the mirror, tell yourself a compliment. Yes, because what's happening, you know, we usually come to the mirror to check what's wrong, yeah, to check if, I don't know, if our hair is still fine, you know, if our lipstick still in our lips. So we're not used to come to the mirror and saying like, oh, you know, like you look beautiful today. Oh, look how great you look. So we're not often doing it. So if you're having trouble watching yourself back on video, make sure you tell yourself as many compliments in the mirror. So then you start transferring these compliments. Then you start looking at yourself on the video. And surprisingly, the things that you notice about yourself, majority of people not even gonna notice. And only people who are going to notice it is people who worried about it as well. For example, I'll give you an example. It's called perception vigilance. Then you decide to buy a new car, for example, and you go to a dealership and you pick something different. You buy like orange Audi, I don't know. And you drive out from the dealership, and what do you see around? Oh my God, suddenly like whereas other people have orange Audis, like they everywhere. It's not because there's more Audis around, it's because you start noticing it. So we only notice what we choose to notice. Same applies to the video. You're gonna notice what you choose to notice. If you're a person who really worried about your hairstyle, you're gonna notice hairstyle on another videos, and you will be really picky about your hairstyle. If you more worried about the clothes, you start noticing what people wearing in other videos, you will be picky about your clothes. So we're all different, remember it, and you're not trying to please everyone. Yes, you really need to think who's your audience and who you're gonna relate to and what's important for them. Remember, people notice what they choose to notice. Sometimes you will be worrying about what you're wearing in your clothes, but everyone will be commenting on something that behind you, or I don't know, if something random happened in the background, everyone just will be watching this and not even notice that you have a wrinkle on the shot or something like this. So keep it in mind. Another common comment, like I just freeze in front of the camera. What I've noticed through while working with my clients. So what's happened quite a lot when we're in front of the camera, especially if we're just filming ourselves, then we're not on the call, it's just you and the camera. We just lacking this immediate feedback. So what's happened, like I've met a lot of people who are really confident speakers, so they can speak in front of a big audience, they feel comfortable on the stage, but you put the camera in front of them and they just got frozen. So what's happening is when you're in front of the camera, you're not getting this immediate feedback from the audience, and you have to laugh at your own jokes. And it could be doubting, because all this, then you're kind of talking with yourself, this all negative thoughts kick in, like, oh my God, like, am I saying all right, what people would think, and so on. Because then you're in front of the audience, you can feel this feedback straight away and you can adapt. So you make a joke and you can see if the audience actually laughing or not, and adapt, and also bounce the energy from the people that listening to you. You still can do it on the calls, but on the calls it's a little bit harder, because then you're on the screen trying to look at people on the screen and trying to read the nonverbal communication, trying to kind of feel this feedback from them. It is harder than in real life. It takes practice, and that's why then if you're running a webinar, it's really good to check in with your audience, ask them questions, like I do, keep asking you questions, pulling up some polls so people participate, so you don't feel like you're talking with the crickets. It's especially harder if on the webinar people have their cameras switched off. In this case, you can't see the facial expression or anything in their reactions at all. So you only can, keep asking the questions and asking them to keep commenting in the chat box. And if no one comments in the chat box, of course the negative thoughts will kick in. You feel like, oh my God, no one listening to me. I might saying something wrong. I might be boring. And here's another objections. You're not doing videos because you think you're boring. You think like, oh my God, like who's gonna listen to me? Which comes back to the audience. It's coming back to the fact that we're not trying to create video that everyone will like. We're trying to create the videos that relate to your audience. It's really important to understand your audience, because if you're worried about being boring, boring is a really subjective thing as well. You you might know everything about the baseball, yeah? And if you're catching up with your mates and talk about the baseball, you're a cool guy, you know, you have a cool stories. But I don't know, if you go on a date and start talking about the baseball on a date, you might not have as much success. And, you know, maybe your new date will feel you boring because she's just completely not interested in baseball. So keep in mind, being boring really depends on your audience. If you provide the content that's relevant to your audience, you're never going to be boring. And also, why we sometimes think this way? Because when we're doing something for the long time, it feels for us like common sense. Yeah. If you've been in finance for a long time, you understand all the numbers, you know, it feels like common sense, all these interest things. If you've been in IT, some language, coding language, will feel like common sense. But not for everyone. That's why it's really important to understand what creates these aha moments for your audience. I'll give you an example of myself. I did run a lot of workshops before for photographers and help them how to communicate with people and how to get best out of people. And then I started shifting to small business owners and helping them to create videos themselves. And once I remember on some interview, I've been asked, Yana, can you give us just some tips about how to take a good selfie? And I'm like, oh, sure. And you know, I grab my phone and start, you know, talking about angles and you know, different facial expression. And the person asked me, oh, Yana, but why you just keep turning around? Why you're not saying anything about that? And I'm like, oh, it's because I'm looking for the light. And he's like, but why you haven't said anything about it? Because it was common sense for me. I felt like looking for the light is the first thing you do. It's just common sense, because I've been running workshops for photographers all the time before, and all the photographers know that picture starts from with the light. But obviously not when you are running workshops for like lawyers and accountants. Yes, so you learn to see the light when you get used to it, when you practice. But in the beginning, yes, so that was aha moment for my new audience, actually understanding where is the light coming from. So remember, it's people don't care how much you know, people care how much you care. It's about solving their problem and helping them to find the exact information what they need. So don't be scared to be boring. Like, you will be boring only if you don't understand your audience. Here's another comment. Objections. What if I receive negative comments? Look, negative comments are actually great. Then you start getting, you know, a bit of the negative comments. It actually means that your content getting some traction. Because again, we're not trying to create a content that everyone like. We're trying to create content that solve our particular audience problems. And you know, then you receive the negative comment. It's just really important not to react. Yeah, there is a difference between act and react. So don't try to fire away the response straight away. You know, look at it and think if you're perceiving it the correct way as well. So many times we read something differently just because of our emotional state, or some negative thinking that we built up before. So don't fire up the response to your negative comment straight away. Give it a time and then thank for this comment. Like, I'm not talking about some abusive, creepy comments, yeah? So I'm talking about, you know, the actually constructive negative feedback. Thank for this comment. Find something that you can agree with this person on and ask them. Be curious and ask them why they think the way they think, why they disagree. You can learn so much from the negative comments. It's incredible. And often the people who leave negative comments become the best clients. Happens with me every time. Someone recently messaged me, oh, Yana, like, I'm gonna unfollow you, you're going live too often. Because I was doing live streams every day. And I said like, and I explained him like, I thanked him for the feedback, and I explained why I'm doing it so often at the moment. And now he sends me some posts for feedback, and no one unfollow me. So it's all about this human communication, yes? So don't just react and flip like, you're gonna unfollow me, fine, do it. Yeah, no, be curious why the person think this way, and what make them to leave this comment. You will learn so much from these negative comments. All of this brings me back to the point that you really need to think about your audience, who you actually talking with. I'm not gonna go into the audience and how to define your audience in this webinar, but just want to remind you, really think who's your audience, how do you want to be perceived, who you'll be talking with, how you can engage with them, how you can relate to them, what problems you're solving to them, and how do you want to make them feel. Because remember, people will forget what you did, people will forget what you said, but people will never forget how you make them feel. So that's why the video is actually so powerful, because you have all this power of nonverbal communication and transferring your emotions, transferring your confidence, intonation, because here's the power of video compared to written content, because written content is open to interpretation. Everyone can read it the way they want to read it, but then they watching you on the video, they can see what emotions you bringing to your content as well. Are you inspired about your content? Are you enthusiastic about your content? Are you confident about what you're trying to say? Do you believe in your message? All of these things can be seen in the video compared with just the blog post that you write. Again, I'm not disregarding written communication, but I'm just saying that there is a place for written communication, there is a place for videos, and if you really wanna relate to your audience on a deeper level, video is just a really powerful tool to do it. Especially now with after all this isolation, people want to connect with people. We notice it so much, how many people actually switch to Zoom calls, because we want to see the other person's face. We want to read this nonverbal communication. So that's just another reinforcement about how important it is. So let's go more into the practical part now. So obviously, before you jumping on this Zoom call, or before you pressing this record button, you kind of need to get ready, get ready for it. So make sure, like, if you're jumping on a Zoom call, you actually ready. You don't click join button and then start adjusting your background, your light, just doing all the stuff, finishing your tea and and doing like all this not related to the topic things. So make sure that the person see you for the first time on this call or on this video. This is this like snap first impression. So be ready for it. If you're filming yourself, I also advise to put your phone on the airplane mode, so no one actually will call you and just destroy your best take. Really good practice. Check your phone to airplane mode before filming, so no disruption, no random messages popping up and disrupting you from the video content. Obviously, if you're on a Zoom call, make sure your phone on silence. No one wanna like to be interrupted. And also simple things. Make sure you're not hungry and thirsty and tired and all of this, because we can see the energy through the video. We still can see energy on the screen. So make sure that your energy is high, so you actually setting intentions for this video call or before filming this video. So once you're ready to film, you have like your bullet points, a script ready. So a lot of people asking me like, oh, like I can't remember the script, like what I can do. Like I personally actually write a lot of my scripts. I find it easier, so I like to write my scripts and read them back and hear how they sound. But at least write the bullet points, because if you're not writing anything down and just going through the top of your head, we often get carried away. Too often we get carried away and we're just talking. So the video for social media need to be short, precise, one message, one audience, one call to action. So if you're not gonna script it at all, it's not gonna be that precise and to the point. So make sure you at least put the bullet points, so I'm gonna talk about this, here's my example, and that's what I want my audience to do. So keep the structure in mind. Don't just wing it. You can also use things like a teleprompter. A really popular teleprompter that I use called Big View, BIGVU. I will pop it in the comments as well if you're watching the replay. But there's millions of teleprompters that you can use, where you can put your script on and you can film it and read your script at the same time. Takes practice as well, because if you're doing it for the first time, it will totally look like you're reading. So you don't want that to happen. So you need to remember at least a little bit of your script, not just keep reading from the screen. If you have like iPad, for example, a good practice would be put the teleprompter on an iPad, so you have a phone that you're actually filming a video, and the script go on your iPad on the teleprompter. So in this case, it's easily, if you need to do a retake or something, you film and watch the script on the separate devices. But just make sure that your script as close to your camera as possible, because remember, especially when you're filming video, but on the Zoom calls as well, you need to try to look directly into the camera. Yeah, so that's me looking somewhere on the screen, and that's me looking into a camera, two different things. And people find it really hard to do it on the Zoom calls, because you have so many people that you talking with, and you keep looking at the screen at different people. So just keep in mind, then you're delivering the content, you're trying to look directly into the camera as much as you can, and then people replying, you screening and watching their nonverbal communication. It is tricky, definitely. It takes practice, because we tend to look or at ourselves on the screen or at the other person. If you're talking just with only one person on the screen, try to put them as close to your webcam, so that your gaze between your camera and the person you're talking with, not, the distance is not that fast, so it doesn't look like you're constantly looking away. I also sometimes see that people have another screen, and for example, their webcam on this screen, but they have another screen here, and they're taking notes on another screen. That could be quite disturbing as well, because it feels like people don't care, and people just not looking at you at all. So if you have multiple screens and you're talking with someone, at least tell them, explain them, like, I have another screen here and I'm gonna take notes on this screen, because the person don't understand that you're actually looking at them, like they're actually looking at you, but on another screen, but it feels like they disengage. So keep it in mind, because we want to create this engagement with the person through the camera, like looking directly into the camera. And also, my really tip, you probably heard it so many times, but I'm gonna repeat it again and again. Make sure your camera is on the eye level. Yeah, it is important, because then your camera and eye level, you engage with the person on the same level. Because if how many of you saw this kind of angle on the Zoom calls? Yeah, people just on the Zoom call, they switch on their webcam, and that's what they get, nostrils. It's not only unflattering, it also looks too dominant in a lot of situations. So keep in mind, it's not only angles, it's psychology involved on your camera angle. And again, if your camera is too high, that looks quite submissive as well. So depends who you're talking with, I guess. But in majority of cases, what you want to do, you want to make sure that your camera on eye level to engage with your audience on the same level. So another really important thing, then you're starting with the videos calls, it's lighting. Yeah. And yes, there is a lot of different ways to set up your lighting, but we're not trying here, like in this webinar, we're not trying to create some movie setup. Yeah. So what we're trying to achieve, we're trying to think about what's the most effective and quickest way to achieve a reasonable lighting on your video call or on your video. And majority of the time, the easiest solution to this is face the source of the light. Yeah, so stop overthinking about, triple lights and things like this, especially when you're starting out. Think about how you can face the source of the light. So in the current situation that I'm in, I'm just facing my window, and because I'm facing my window, I get this nice, natural, soft light. I don't have any direct sun because sun don't go directly into my living room. So, and it's a nice, diffuse, natural light. So that's one of the ideal situations. So if you can put your desk in your, in the office that you're facing the window, that's the easiest solution. If you can't do it, just use any source of artificial light, but make sure it's in front of you, because so often in the offices we have these ceiling lights, so the light is actually coming from above, and what it creates shadows under the eyes. So here's my really simple and easy example of artificial lighting. So if you obviously you can purchase some LED lights and professional lights, you can purchase softbox to put in front of you. But this is just the simple solution. You can grab any lamp that you have, but then you put a piece of paper to diffuse the light. So instead of just, getting the light into the face and getting all the shadows, you diffuse it with the piece of paper so it's softer. Can you see the difference? Yeah, and that's with the piece of paper. So, and again, like I'm saying, put it in front of you, because then the light coming from like some random directions, that's where you get all this beautiful can I do this? Oh, here you go. How good's that? That's what usually you get underneath the ceiling lights in the office. So really simple tip, just put the light in front of you. Don't overthink. Of course, you can, you can go for 2 lights and the backlit and come on. In the beginning, just learn to find the source of the light and face the light, and then adjust the background. That's a really common mistake I see. People look for the background first and then thinking about lighting. Look, find the source of the light first and then adjust the background. So with the background, there are a few things, obviously colors, movements, composition, acoustic, there are a few things that involve then you're thinking about the background. So the background is important because it's need to help you to send a clear message. So they need to complement your storage and grab attention as well. So yes, of course you can use just a plain white background. It's just a bit too boring, especially if you're doing a lot of videos. You need to mix it up. So the background, like if you're scrolling down on the timeline, often we see some, cool visuals, and that's why we click on this video to watch. If you're on the call, so you need to make sure that your background looks semi-professional. So I wouldn't say that I have the most amazing background, but it's reasonable, yeah? So it has a bit of a color, and it's also office-like. Composition-wise, I'm just using a really simple rule of thirds, and if you Google rule of thirds, you will see it like everywhere. It's a really common rule in photography. So if you split your screen on 3 parts, yeah, you see that. So if you put the grid lines, so on your phone actually, if you go to settings on your camera and choose grid lines, put the grid lines, it will put like 2 horizontal and 2 vertical lines on your phone. So then you look through the camera, you can line up the objects along these lines, and it's usually the simplest and more pleasant composition for the photos or for the video. Putting everything along the thirds. You see how my shelves kind of going along these lines behind me? So don't overthink about it in the beginning. It does come with practice. But the important thing to remember, it's much easier to look for the background through the camera again. Because often you walk into the little space, you look around, and it feels like there is no background. You know, you can't find any background. It's so, I don't know, crowded, and there's so much stuff around. Look through the phone, yeah? Switch on the phone and start looking for the background through the phone, not with your 2 eyes. It will help you because it will show you exactly what you're getting into the frame. So try to do it this way, not with your 2 eyes, because 2 eyes have a stereoscopic vision, and the camera is just like a 1 eye, it's flat. So the background will look a bit different through the camera as well. All the deep backgrounds looks really good. So instead of just standing next to the wall or next to the picture, if you can create a bit of a depth, that's great. You know, like if you can be in front of the window and then the rest of your living room kind of going down, can give this nice feeling. So at the moment, for those who are watching replay, because the replay filmed on my Samsung phone, you get this depth of field, so the background a little bit blurry. That's just a function of my Samsung Galaxy that available. I'm not sure if it's available on the last iPhone, but I'm not against iPhone, but just saying that on the last models of the Samsung, you have this depth of field function where you can actually film the video being in focus, and everything it's as you can see, a bit blurry. So definitely use this function if you have one of the latest phone. There are also options to put a virtual background, and then you're on a Zoom call. We've seen a lot of people using virtual backgrounds. I'm not particularly a fan of the virtual backgrounds. Yes, you can use them, but if you're using them poorly, they can only harm you than help you. Especially like, for example, I have a long blonde hair. That's a disaster for me to use a lot of these virtual backgrounds because it's all just start getting blended in. If you bald, it's easier, 100%. But yeah, be mindful so that your virtual background, you can find some virtual backgrounds that don't look that virtual, so that they look almost like a real ones. Sometimes you also can take a picture, you know, of your office or the environment you like, and put that picture as your virtual background. That might look more natural. But yeah, remember again, like I just truly believe then you have your natural surrounding. It tells more about your personality in some way. So that's why I do like to see the real backgrounds in people's videos. So it's kind of, it feels a bit more authentic. But yeah, look, if there is no chance for you to find a good background, of course use virtual. It's better to use virtual background than a poorly done real background. So another thing I want to remind about backgrounds is also colors. Yeah, so pay attention to the colors. Obviously we perceive colors differently, and different colors give us a bit of a different again feelings. The important thing here is make sure you stand out from the background, so don't blend in with your background. If you have a white background and you're wearing white t-shirt, not a great idea. Yeah, so make sure you a bit contrasting with your background. Which is bring me to my next point is about outfits. Yeah. So what do you actually wanna wear? You know, then you're on a call or then you're filming video. So that's obviously really depends. Back to the audience. It depends how you want to relate to your audience. I would think about something. If you meet the same audience in person, what would you be wearing? If you're going to network event, what are you wearing? But remember, some things that look great in real life don't look as good on camera. So it's fine. It's about finding this balance that something comfortable, looks good on you, and looks good on camera as well. So camera doesn't like busy patterns, especially like checks and really like little stripes and stuff. It's that flickering on the camera. So avoid this and go for really plain bold colors. I would say majority of cases plain blue, purple, green looks pretty good. Be really careful with the white and blacks, because depends on the exposure, they might look different. So they might look like gray instead of look like white and black and so on. Especially if maybe you're gonna edit this video later and you're gonna change the lighting, the whites and blacks can look quite different. So I would try to avoid them, and yes, I would just go for some really plain, simple colors. So overall, what are you aiming for? You're aiming for something that contrasting your skin and complementing your eyes. Also, my advice is pay attention to your neckline. So I'm kind of probably don't have the best choice for my neckline here today. It's reasonable, but yeah. So think about it. In majority of videos and Zoom call, the person gonna see only, you know, top half of you. So you obviously need to think about your outfits on the top. And neckline is an important component. Yeah, so think about, is it a collar or is it a round one? And also the shape of your clothes and your neckline can contribute to the, you know, overall perception of your face and shape of your face. So yeah, so the neckline and the color, that's what I'd be paying attention the most. Then I'm thinking about the easy choice of the outfits for the video or for the Zoom call. And last thing that I want to talk about is non-verbal communication. Yeah, so non-verbal communication obviously play a huge part of your video. And non-verbal communication includes your facial expression, your hands, and also your voice. So I already mentioned before how important it's to keep a camera on the eye level and keep this connection, but also it's about understanding what your face is doing, because we don't really, in majority of cases, we actually no idea what our face is doing, because we're not used to look at our face every time. You know, you're not thinking, then you go to shop, you're not constantly thinking, oh my God, what my face is doing. Yeah. So obviously mirror helps to to see and read your own facial expressions, and watching back yourself on the video and picking up, you know, this micro expression it's a great exercise. I wouldn't be overthinking about it too much. The idea is obviously to feel natural and make your face do its thing. But the little things to pay attention about, keeping contact with the camera. Make sure, you know, your eyes not just like running around like crazy, because people read the eye movements and they can misread them as well. Because often then we look up, for example, we're trying to remember something. Yeah, if you forgot your script, you often will look up. But some people can perceive it as that you're lying, you know, you're making something up. So, you know, be careful. You know, then we're looking to the side too often. Then people watching you on the call and the video, they think it's something disturbing you. You know, you're watching, looking at something. Because in the real life, if you're looking to the side, person can also look at the side and see what you're looking at. But in the video, they have no idea where you're looking. So it again, it's a bit of a it feels like disengagement with your audience. And obviously when you're looking up, it's also perceived as being less confident, yes, so submissive as well. So be careful about looking down too often, and that might often happen if you have some notes down on the table, or you're writing down the table. So just be a bit conscious about it. Overall, so try to pay attention to your face, then you're silent. Yeah, so when it's a interview style of the video, or like a dialogue, or again Zoom call, because it's really interesting how we start doing some strange thing with our face, then not when we're listening, not when we're talking, and we start like thinking about our stuff and and so on. So make sure, if you filming interview particularly, then another person is talking, you kind of still need to remember about your face, and the easiest way is just like keep looking at the camera and smiling. Which brings me to the next point. Smiling is extremely important in front of the camera, because smile is increasing your face value. So I would recommend over smile in front of the camera, to be honest. Smile in the beginning of the video, in the middle, at the end, as much as you can. But even if you're going through really serious content, again, think about it. And someone like scrolling through the timeline on social media, people don't really click to listen what a grumpy face trying to tell them. Yeah, so you need to welcome your viewers with a smile. Even then you go through like a serious content. So remember, smile is increasing your face value, but smile needs to be natural as well. Don't try to fake it, yeah, because these ones, then you're just trying to smile with your lips and not with your eyes. Don't do it. Don't. Okay, so it's about giving this energy, giving this energy to the camera, and actually being excited about your content, about your message, and about this communication that you're giving to your audience. So if you feel this way, you don't even need to think about your face. It will do the job itself. So, and the same comes with the hands. I really recommend to let your hands be seen on the video, and let them move naturally as much as you can. So if you're not sure what your hands doing in the real life, again, go to the mirror and tell yourself some story that you told millions of times before. Some story that you don't need to think about, and while you're telling this story to yourself, watch your hands and see what they're doing. And let your hands move with your speech, because hands movement really strongly connected to your speaking and thinking, and hands movement help us to pass this message more clearly as well. Then why people saying hi and waving? The reason we're doing this, comes from the ancients word, and we show that we don't have any weapons. Yeah, hi, I'm a friend. There is nothing in my hands. Because as soon as person hide the hands behind, we don't feel as much trust towards them. Yeah, so it feels like they have something to hide. That's why it's important to show your hands with the open hands gestures. And also, you might seen it as well. If you see some experienced speakers on the stage, they usually move around and talk with their hands. But if you see someone on the stage quite nervous, usually they just walk to the podium, they grab the podium with their hands, and they just not letting the podium go. So, and you can tell that they're a bit less confident, they're a bit nervous. So same kind of situation in the video. If you keep holding your hands still, they're not moving, you might be perceived a bit less confident, because it feels a bit like a tension. It feels like you maybe overthinking about your script, or just in general feel uncomfortable being in this situation. So that's why it's important to let your hands move and be seen in the video. And another part of, obviously, of the nonverbal communication, it's your voice and your intonation and stuff. I wouldn't say that I professional with this. Some people doing amazing things with their voices, but one tip that's really important, I think, it's make sure that before you film the video, you tell yourself your script out loud at least once, just to warm up. So make sure you not start filming videos straight away when you were silent before for like, a few hours. Yeah, so you want to warm up your voice. You want to say a few things before you actually start filming video, jumping to the call. You need to warm it up. And don't be, monotone. Yeah, make sure it's, if you will be talking just with the same intonation, like no intonation, and just really plain, it's just less engaging. So make sure you a little bit more, like a tiny bit more animated in front of the camera that you might be in real life. If you, it depends what kind of, obviously depends what kind of person you are in real life, but if you talk really quiet and really monotone in the real life, in the video you need to bump it up a little bit, just a little bit. So we're not acting here, yeah? So we want to be ourselves, but we want to just exaggerate a few things that camera love. Also, a lot of people asking if they need to use a microphone and what kind of microphone they need to use. Yeah, of course, microphone will help to sound more professional, but to be honest, it really depends on the circumstance. For example, now I'm talking just directly to my laptop, and so in the replay I'm just talking directly into my phone, and I just filming it on my phone without any microphone at all, because I have a pretty quiet room, and there is not much echo here, so the quality of the sound is reasonable, so I don't really need to use any extra devices, but it doesn't hurt. So I often just use headphones as well, especially when I'm streaming, so I don't hear any echoing. So it's just the simple headphones from my phone. I often just all I do just put the headphones here, and for example, if I'm filming outside and it's windy and I don't have any another equipment, all I do, I grab the headphones, and this is little microphone on your headphones right here, and I'll just pin it here and use it as a microphone, and film the video through the headphones, and the quality is reasonable. So guys, it really depends. So what I'm saying is you can upgrade to millions of different equipment and so on. So it's an endless choice of equipment upgrades, but the thing is you need to start. You need to start, and if you don't present well in front of the camera, none of this equipment will help you, because people don't believe in message if they don't believe a presenter. So if you feel uncomfortable, unconfident, even if you have all the fancy software and hardware there, people still not gonna trust your message. So that's why I do believe if you have a phone, if you had headphones, start practicing, start creating videos, you will improve. Your first video not gonna look like a TV commercial, but as you go, it starts getting better and better and better. So it's a matter of practicing. And again, if you have a decent phone and the headphones and just a basic tripod, you can buy a tripod like for $15 on eBay with millions of different ones. I would probably go for like a telescopic one that you can go high and lower. honestly, like $15 investment. And of course, if you feel like you overgrowing it, you can invest into gimbal, and you can invest in more professional lighting and more professional microphone. There's endless options. I still film all my videos just on my phone with my headphones. That's it. I don't really use any other equipment, because that's kind of type of videos that I'm producing to. The majority of my videos is just me talking to the camera with specific message. So really depends. As I said, the trick is not buying all this fancy equipment. The trick is get started and getting comfortable and really tailoring your message and have a strategy behind it. Yes, so it needs to be a strategy through your whole content, how you communicate with your audience, not just ad hoc filming videos here and there. It's about, creating that story, creating the journey, understanding what sort of content your audience want to consume. Because if your audience not gonna consume this content for free on the social media, why are they gonna pay for it? Yeah. So just it's about testing. It's putting things out there and see what's working, what's not, and give the people knowledge. The times when we try to sell, selling the knowledge are gone. Yeah, give the knowledge, sell implementation. There is nothing you need to keep hiding for yourself. You can give your audience as many tips and tricks, because if you're not gonna give them, someone else is gonna give them on YouTube anyway. Information are free. People gonna Google this and YouTube this different tips and tricks anyway. So give the knowledge, sell implementation. Share the things with your audience that help to make their life easier, and they will come to you for more tips, for more tricks and tips, and obviously for implementation. Okay, and to wrap it up, for those who are watching in the replay, obviously I can talk forever about all these things. So if you have any questions, please pop it in the comments. I'll get back and answer all these questions. And if people keep answering the same things, I'm also going to create the new videos with the answers. And also, if you enjoy this content, for everyone who watched this replay to the end, I'm offering 75% off my video confidence course. So I'll just pull it up on the screen 1 second. So if you signing into this course right now, I'm giving you 75% off. You just need to put this promo code on the checkout, and receive an instant discount. So you can purchase the video conference course just for $47, and it includes majority of the information that we went through today, but more in the details with the specific tasks. And also, if you want me to talk about your specific situation and discuss how the video strategy can help in your particular circumstances, your business, and so on, please do not hesitate to book the one-on-one call with me, strategy call. You can just book it online as well. Here's a link to my website. Make sure you can just pop into my website and book the time that suits you the best. Thank you so much, guys, for watching this webinar. I hope you enjoyed. And again, if you want to get in touch with me, you can just comment below or just connect with me on LinkedIn, because that's probably the easiest way to connect with me. I check the LinkedIn the most often from all other social media platforms. So just connect with me on LinkedIn and shoot me a quick message.